Hey, this is Zero at ReviewZoneHD, and I'm bringing you guys a review for Double Dragon Neon on the PlayStation 3. It may be hard to believe, but I spend a good portion of my own personal gaming time when I'm not covering titles for YouTube, playing some of the games that I grew up with, such as the Final Fantasy series, the Castlevania games, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle titles. So when I found out that WayForward was developing Double Dragon Neon, I basically harassed those guys for a review copy. Did the game live up to my own personal expectations, or was it another run-of-the-mill revisioned use of an old license? Let's find out in the review. If you were one of the lucky few that got to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time reshelled when it was briefly available out of the PlayStation Store, this new Double Dragon Neon title should appear very similar with what was done to that game graphically to an older Nintendo title, which, to be honest, Double Dragon Neon's graphics are a step up from the Turtle title, but the vision from old school to new school was well done for both. But this isn't just a reskinned version of the original Double Dragon game. It's a completely revamped, remixed version with new stages and new enemies, but definitely felt and looked like what a new Double Dragon title should be. I've been talking a lot about lighting in a good bit of some of my past reviews, but the neon color lighting is the eye candy on here. It looks great. The only issue I had graphically with this title was the run animation was a bit stiff to activate and awkward looking, but everything else was pretty much up to par. I didn't notice any technical issues, and the frame rate stayed pretty solid throughout my playthrough.
I don't know, man. I kinda like you here.
Dude, that's crazy talk. Let's bail ski.
The soundtrack was very retro 80s, almost like a Grand Theft Auto game, and it fit very well with the overall theme. It was fun to listen to and kept pace with the action. But the one major complaint that I had with this title is with the voice acting, which sounded like they pulled it straight out of an 80s children's cartoon, and it very well could have been done intentionally to give the game a light-hearted feel to it, and some may enjoy it, but the main villain sounded really corny, the lines delivered were just as cheesy. It may have pulled in a few chuckles, but overall the voice acting just wasn't as high quality as the rest of the title. However, the soundtrack may be good enough to save the day in the sound category.
I'm your worst nightmare! Skullmageddon! On guard!
This is pretty much what it all comes down to with a title like this. It's either got to be fun or it's not worth playing. And this game is fun. They added a level up system for two separate perks. One is a special move that allows you to select between moves such as using a fireball or a spin kick, which activates with the R1 button on the PlayStation 3. And the other is a selection package that enhances your stats and may add a special ability on top of it. There are several to choose from that alter combat in one way or another, and they are leveled up with cash and collecting rare stones that drop off the bosses. The combat is a button mashing good time. It's nothing revolutionary, and it stays true to the simple original Double Dragon format. There's not a lot in terms of complex combos, but there are a lot of weapons to pick up and use, and learning enemy patterns play a role in learning to stay alive. Two-player, this game is a complete joy to run through, and if you have a friend to play local co-op with, it's definitely worth playing. Difficulty-wise, this title is much easier to handle with a friend. I have been told they are patching in online co-op, so that should be available down the road at some point soon. Single player is a little bit of a different story. On normal difficulty, there were a couple boss fights that I'm not sure I could have handled by myself by just playing the game straight through. However, if things get too difficult or in situations like that, you can go back and grind on some older levels, upgrade your abilities, and buy some extra lives. So no matter how hard the game gets, there are options to get through it. Some players may not want to put in that extra time and effort in single player, but make no mistake about it, this game can get difficult. It's nowhere near as hard as the original Double Dragon titles were when you are playing on normal difficulty, but for the hardcore gamers, there are a couple harder difficulties on here that I haven't tested out yet. There are a couple boss fights that can be a bit cheap, but overall the difficulty is going to be part skill based and part patience, but either way it's manageable. As of right now, this title is currently free for PlayStation Plus members for a limited time. So if you're on the PlayStation, this very well could be a reason to go ahead and purchase a Plus membership if you don't already have one, so that you can go ahead and pick this up and play it. However, if you're watching this review a few months from now, this option will most likely be removed at some point, and for Xbox 360 owners, it will initially be priced at $9.99. No matter how you get your hands on a copy, it's worth playing and does the original Double Dragon series justice. I don't really have a lot of complaints with this game. It pretty much was what I was expecting the title to be and didn't disappoint. However, for those that never played the original titles, the combat could feel a little bland. So your own enjoyment may come down to how you feel about the original Double Dragon games, and if you have a friend to play this one with, because it's definitely a lot funner to play with a second player. Anyways, this is Zero at ReviewZoneHD, and thanks for stopping by.